The rise and fall of the Kingdom of Axum, Africa's lost Byzantine Empire in the highlands of East Africa, carved into the red rock and nestled beneath the shadows of ancient mountains, rose one of the greatest empires the world has nearly forgotten, the Kingdom of Axum. Founded around the 1st century CE in what is now northern Ethiopia and Eritrea, Axum grew from a small trading settlement into a dominant power of the ancient world. Its people were brilliant merchants, engineers, and warriors. They built towering obelisks, crafted fine art, and controlled Red Sea trade routes that linked Rome, India, Arabia, and the African interior. By the 3rd and 4th centuries, Axum had expanded its influence across the southern Arabian Peninsula, even conquering parts of Yemen. It stood among the 4 great powers of its time, alongside Rome, Persia, and China. But what truly set Axum apart wasn't just its reach, it was its transformation. Around 330 CE, under King Ezana, Axum became one of the first major empires to officially adopt Christianity. Ezana, influenced by a shipwrecked Syrian Christian named Frumentius, converted and declared his faith across the realm. From then on, Axum became known not just as a kingdom of wealth, but as a Christian beacon in Africa. And it was this shared Christian identity that would eventually link Axum to the fate of another empire far to the north, Byzantium. Fast forward to the early 7th century. The Eastern Roman Empire, known as Byzantium, was in deep crisis. The powerful Sassanid Persian Empire had ravaged its lands, sacked its cities, and even captured Jerusalem. The Byzantine Emperor, Herculius, faced ruin. Desperate, Herculius turned to allies. Across the Red Sea, the Christian kingdom of Axum watched closely. Though separated by deserts and waters, Axum and Byzantium were spiritual siblings, bound by the same faith and mutual respect. Herculius sent diplomatic envoys, and Axum stood by as a moral and strategic ally. It didn't send troops, but it offered political support, kept hostile powers in Arabia in check, and helped maintain the fragile Christian alliances of the region. With time, Herculius pulled off one of the greatest comebacks in history. He drove the Persians back, reclaimed his lands, and restored Byzantium's power. But just as Byzantium was catching its breath, the world shifted again. In 622 CE, Islam was born in Arabia. Within decades, Muslim forces swept through the Middle East, toppling the Persians and breaking Byzantium's grip on its eastern provinces. New powers rose, and trade routes were redrawn. The Red Sea, once dominated by Axumite ships, now belonged to the Muslim caliphates. Axum was suddenly cut off from the Mediterranean, from Byzantine allies, and from global commerce. The once bustling port of Obelisk fell into silence. Internally, the empire struggled with deforestation, overfarming, and changing climates. Its lands, once fertile and rich, became brittle. By the 8th century, the great empire of Axum had begun to crumble. It didn't collapse in fire, it faded into the mountains, retreating into the Ethiopian highlands where its Christian tradition endured in isolation for centuries. The obelisks of Axum fell, the coins bearing crosses ceased to be minted, but the spirit remained. While Herculius' Byzantium limped on through centuries of war, Axum became a legend, a forgotten Christian empire that once stood shoulder to shoulder with the giants of history. Today, the Kingdom of Axum is remembered as Africa's lost Byzantine Empire, a powerful civilization, rich in faith and trade, whose light dimmed not by conquest, but by the slow turning of history's tide. For more interesting history, subscribe.